When we do the exercise as a succession of modified versions, at first it's perfectly fine to think of each modified version as an individual quote of the motif. So for example, first I decide that my ending note is going to be a D, and then I decide that my next ending note is going to be a B flat. So I only focus on each individual instance. Now, as improvisers become comfortable with this technique, it's important that they start looking at the bigger picture, and this way we can create patterns with the ending notes. So for example, if my original motif ends on G, then I can decide that my next modified version is going to end up on F. And following this pattern of going down the scale, then my next modified version can end up on an E, and then one more modified version landing on the D. This way I'm establishing the pattern of descending tones down the scale. It would sound quickly like this. Now the patterns can be as simple or as intricate as the improviser may want. Another way to do it is by, for example, ascending or descending chromatic tones, by neighboring tones, by landing on one note and then landing on a semitone above, and then another random note, and then again a semitone above. So as I say, the patterns, the way to handle these ending notes can be as straightforward or as complex as desired. What is important though is that now the improviser is thinking in bigger terms, looking at the structure created by a succession of motifs. So now I'm going to show you how this version of the exercise would sound like using this approach of following patterns for the ending notes. This is how it goes. Taking this a little further, now I can use these patterns to create phrases. So for example, I am going to think of these modified versions as, for example, 4-bar phrases. That means that every modified version is going to be a bar, and I'm thinking of establishing a phrase over 4 patterns. That means that now the ending notes can have a stronger implication within the tonal setting. So in this case, what I want to do is first use notes, ending notes, that do not sound conclusive, and then finish the phrase on the 4th repetition of the motif with a more conclusive note in the key. Here's an example.